All right, we're up.
All right. Give me a second. Go see if I can turn this off. All right. I see us. All right. Sounds like somebody drinking a lot of water back there, man.
Yeah, I know. You're drinking up the whole list.
That's actually pretty good how you can hear everything. That microphone's pretty good, man.
Oh, cool, man. You said you need one, right?
No. I think I'm actually all right. I mean,
okay.
You hear me pretty well?
Yeah, we hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm all right.
All right. Did you share the post already?
Nope, I did not.
Here, I think I can share.
Yeah, share for me. Yeah. You share from your?
Yeah, I'm doing that now.
Okay.
All right, I shared to both you and Isaiah's page, so we're good to go there. And I'll close that because I don't want it to talk in my bedroom. All right. Okay, we got 4 people watching right now. I just want to happy Sabbath. Bible Christian of God is on. Brother Jacob, his class, one of the members is on. If it's not him himself, they're on our YouTube page. So I want to wish Bible Christians of God Ministry happy Sabbath. And it was a pleasure having you guys join us last week for the Sabbath outdoors. So, that was truly a blessing. Too much ahead. And also for who's watching now, give us a happy Sabbath. Let us know you're here. And as always, you have any topics or anything you would like to add to the conversation, go ahead. We'll make sure we read everything, whether it's life experiences, your thoughts, or even scripture. And what we're going to deal with today, we're actually going to talk about segregation. Is it positive for the Black community or is it negative for the Black community? What's your thoughts? Should we go as a people? Should we separate ourselves from everybody else? Because right now, people are asking, what could they do to help the Black community be successful? And, what do we need to be a more independent people? And what's your thoughts on that? Is it going back to segregation? Hello, Kimberly Lowe Williams on Facebook. How are you?
Hey, Kim.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go over some scriptures of how Israel was actually separated from everybody else. And a lot of the time it wasn't by choice. And sometimes it was by choice. So we're going to just read a couple of scriptures on that. And then we're going to get into a lot of different laws, a lot of different history on segregation. You can talk about life experiences, whether you lived sometimes when segregation was prominent, and we can talk about from fair housing. We can talk about to the point where we can use bathrooms and pools and different things like that. All these different things we can talk about and, pretty much put it all on the table. Was it positive for the Black community or negative for the Black community? Want to know your thoughts about it and different things like that. You got anything you want to add, bro?
Yes, I do. So yeah, like Devin said, we're going to talk about a lot today. We're going to try to, get everything we can because we're trying to keep it within a time period. But we're going to talk about a lot of Bible stuff. And going into it, I will tell you both that I was against segregation. Looking into the Bibles and looking to certain things, it kind of swayed me a little bit. I'm still against segregation, but there are some pros for this. And for me, I looked into the Bible, how God actually kept us segregated to, teach us and to get us back on track before we went out to mingle with other nations. So I thought that was very interesting. And, some of the skills, natural talent that we have as a people. And sometimes it's not as, as pronounced when we're with other people, but when we get together and we're doing it the right way, we get ourselves together, and other nations notice that too. So
I just want to say for the record, this is not because people try to make everything a racist thing and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not trying to say this is against. We don't want to be with the white man or the Hispanics and stuff like that. That's not what we're saying at all. You know, we have no problem with other nations. Matter of fact, other nations taught in my class in our Bible Christian Fellowship Spirit. You know, we congregation. That's not even the issue whatsoever. This is
Right.
about basically the treatment as us African Americans are receiving, and how do we deal with it? And actually, be honest, when in my opinion, I think it has positive and negative reactions of segregation.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you know,
No.
I don't know to say I'm against it. I'm not saying I'm not against it, but I know there's some negative and positives for it. Just like I know a lot of our own black businesses went down with segregation. When they desegregated, we weren't I guess patronizing our own business anymore or putting it into our own neighborhoods anymore because like my father-in-law used to say, their sugar is sweeter, their money is greener, that type of mentality. And we lost the sense of, I guess, our own identity. But on the flip side, they have things that, other people, the the white folks, they had stuff that we didn't. They had better schools, technology, and we should be able to, as Americans, enjoy all the things that America has to offer equally, but we should also be able to have our own businesses. Like you go to in Chicago, we're in Chinatown, right? And you can go to Chinatown, and they're able to deal with their own selves and have their own businesses and keep their own culture
Mhm.
without without having to lose their identity and lose
Right.
their you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You
Not at this time, just that, when you talk about segregation, just to go ahead and define, what part of it, is it education? Is it just economic segregation? Is it just the overall view of just, you know, exactly, what part of it is that we're talking
Mhm.
and, be really specific on what we're addressing here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we did talk, and we're going to definitely talk about a lot of that because, like you said, there's a lot of economic segregation, school segregation, tax segregation. You put up FHA, the redlining segregation. It's a lot that we're going to get into. I'm going to open up with a prayer real quick, guys, so we can go ahead and get started. If you don't mind.
Go ahead, bro.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you again for another blessed and peaceful Sabbath, another knowledgeable. Hopefully, when we talk about this segregation, Lord, we get across your message correctly and just have a good conversation like we always try to do during this time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Um,
Go ahead, bro.
I just want to read the comments. I see that Isaiah is on there. Happy Sabbath, Isaiah, on Facebook anyway. And Isaiah K. And he says, history tells us when we were separated, we had more things going for us. And I agreed with that.
I agree with that as well. I agree.
And then he also said we need a balance, and I definitely agree with that. It's definitely have medium. But again, I just think though, like God always did, he tries to get us together because he said that, he only came for us during, when he came back down. When he came to earth, I apologize. When he came to earth the first time, he only came to us, clean us up. It was our job to get the rest of the nations together as that happy balance.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to speak on that, so I'll just go ahead and defer to you.
All right, so it is some scriptures I want to do look at because God do require us religiously to be separated, sanctified, or segregated from the world, and it's just from a religious point of view. We'll start off in Leviticus chapter 20. Leviticus chapter 20, and we're going to read verses 20 through to 26. So this when the children of Israel were brought out of the land of Egypt and they're in the wilderness, and when Moses is pretty much telling the children of Israel the laws and statutes, commandments. And look what the Lord said here in Leviticus chapter 20. And it's just talk about basically being separate from other nations religious-wise, which if you're going to be a Christian, you got to be sanctified. So this that has nothing to do with race. It just basically have to do with religion and different things like that. Okay, Chicago Writer says on YouTube, we got richer after segregation due to more access to better schools and housing, etc. But we lost our businesses, and dysfunction in the community was made public after segregated. Before, our issues were unknown. That's a very, very good point. Very good point. They say we were richer after segregation due to access to better schools and housing. So that's one of the plus sides. But then
I disagree with that actually.
okay.
I guess we'll get into it, but I think that was a form of logic that was put into us that we got richer. But I don't agree with that in all the way. But that was a good point. I'm not disagreeing with not just going to be hateful. I kind of see it a different way, I guess I should say.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's fair. This is what the discussion is about. In this particular topic, there's really no right or wrong answer.
Right.
We're basically just put it out there to put it on the table. And maybe we can lead to some right answers. Maybe we can lead to some discussions. Maybe we can lead to doing things differently to help us better as a people in this time of turmoil, because we're marching on Black Lives Matter, because they don't, people say Black Lives Matter. You don't stop killing us. But I think it's bigger than that, really. When we actually, what do we do? I mean, what do we really want as a people? First we want to stop killing us. Yes, that's the main thing, which honestly, if people have a problem with us being upset because we're being killed, is a whole nother topic. But what is it that we're really looking for as a people? What do we really expect? What do we really want? Because we don't want a handout. We want to be able to build something on our own where we're okay. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
All right. So back to the scripture, Leviticus 20, we're going to read verses 22 through 26. And this Lord was requiring us to be separate religious-wise.
Right. Okay. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 22.
Yes.
Ye shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and do them, that the land whither I bring you to dwell therein spew you not out.
All right. So right off the bat, I do want to say this. The reason we're in this predicament in the first place is because we weren't doing what we were supposed to do.
Right.
So I never, I truly understand that the bottom line is because we need to turn back to the Lord. That the Lord is allowing all this stuff to happen to us as a people because of disobedience. Because we're not listening to him, so he said he'll spew us out, and that's how we got thrown in this predicament in the first place. That does not mean that the things being done to us is okay, and the Lord's going to wink on that. He talks about that as well. But our bottom line, if we would obey God, we wouldn't even be having this discussion anyway.
Right.
All right. Verse 23.
And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nation, which I cast out before you, for they committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, which have separated you from other people.
All right, so right off the bat, the Lord requires those who follow him to be separate from other people.
Right.
How do you be separate? Is according to your laws and statutes and commandments that he has written. That's what separates us from everybody else.
Right.
People might seem strange that we keep Saturday versus Sunday, that we say we believe in Jesus and we don't worship Christmas and Easter, because we're separate, we're sanctified, that we're concerned about the different types of animals that we're consuming, because we're separate, we're sanctified, and that's what does it. Read verse 26.
And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine.
And so this one, God said he has severed us from other people. So as a people, those who follow God, the children of Israel, and also the mixed multitude that came out of the land of Egypt that followed this.
Right.
Religiously, we're severed. Religiously, we're sanctified from everybody else. We have different standards we need to live up to than everybody else do. So it just in that kind of sanctifies us. Now, notice, anytime Israel went into another nation or went into captivity, or whether it was slavery or not, we kind of kept to ourselves anyway. Turn to Genesis 47 real quick. So right off the bat, and honestly, it's not racist that a community would want to be around their fellow, countrymen. At least I don't think it is. Of course you want to be around people who you're like manner. Not to say you don't want anybody to come in. That's when it started getting messed up. Like we have a community, it's like, hey, some people want to come and join and serve live with us and worship with us and different things like that.
Right,
Man,
right.
they're gonna be like one born in the land. And
Mhm.
that's the mentality that we're supposed to have. We're going to call ourselves Christian and Christ-like.
Right, right. And I agree with you when you're saying that it's not racist to want to be with people, like-minded people. It says that all the time. But it becomes racist once we say that, oh, you can't come into this all boys club, or you can't come into this sect. Or I'm not involving you into, trying to teach you the law, statutes, and commandments, from the religious side. But from the flip side, I'm not allowing you here because I don't like your nationality. That's when it becomes racist.
That's when it becomes a problem. Exactly. I want to stress this because if some people might listen to this, oh, y'all just being, racist. Like, no, that's not the point. But the point is, we want to. There's nothing wrong with building up your people without putting other people down. And that's when I don't think people understand the difference. When people say, Black Lives Matter, yeah, we are tired of dying. Versus somebody saying white power, technically through history, right now, you guys got the power. So what's the point of putting us down for? you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I can also see the flip side argument of it as well, because a lot of people try, say, well, I'm not saying white power, but I want to be with white people. What's wrong with that? You're saying that you want to be with Black people. I love Black people, but I just want to be with you. I can see how that can kind of get construed. And that's the narrative that people are saying. You can say Black Lives Matter, but I can't say, not even all lives matter, right? I can't even say, I want to be in the housing district where, most of my, like-minded people are at. Just to be devil's advocate. Go ahead. And then I'm gonna read comments. Go ahead, Devin. I'm sorry. Read comments? Okay. So Isaiah said we need balance. Isaiah also said, I don't think we're richer. I think he was also describing the point with the other brother said on YouTube, I believe. So I said, explain that point. I do agree, but explain it. And he said, we had access to more ways to feel accepted by a so-called different class of people. And that's exactly where I was going with it too. That mindset, we felt more accepted. I'm not trying to cut my own comments down. When you feel you fit in reality can be distorted. Think about Israel in the wilderness and not having a king. Both examples show this. Isaiah also said, I just think we need time to take care of home and build a proper understanding of culture first. And I agree with that as well. And I was going to the same point. I'm sorry, Brother Isaiah, did you want to talk about this? I apologize, Big Brother Isaiah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll fit in.
Okay. And I was going to that point where Isaiah K was saying too, I think, we had programs that were in place that made us felt like we're richer at a time. But then, and most of us know this in layman's terms, but what started to happen was now they started to push the finish line further and further away from us. So then, the playing field actually was kept the same. And we see that, during slavery times, we came out of slavery, we were still segregated, keeping us still below the bottom of the poverty line. Then, after redlining happened, with the act of 1964, when they said basically you can't do that anymore. They had us do that, but then the Supreme Court, stopped that in 1990s, where they, now they started giving us subprime loans and stuff like that. But Wells Fargo just got in trouble for that in 2006, 2008. Okay, all right, I knew it was around 2000 something. But they were giving us subprime loans and selling to us at astronomical interest rates that we couldn't even pay back. So it's always been, the game was just being played a different way, I should say.
And so basically we're talking about right now, you're talking about the fair housing as far as segregation and us not even be able to move to better places, even if we wanted to.
Right.
Because things are set up against us to I guess you get priced out. You get to the point that houses are so expensive in a better neighborhood with better school systems. There's no way you can get there because there's no way you can afford it. Right.
And it's, I'm sorry, and it's a shame too, because even educational, the ways that education is, Devin and Brother Isaiah, we know that the best public schools are not usually in the inner cities. The best public schools are usually you know, in the outside of inner cities, in the further suburbs. But we can't get to those points because there's outside our pricing ranges, even if, you know, most of us are 2-income families now because, you know, it's just impossible, you know, for some people to, you know, have a 1-income family. But even with a 2-income family, you know, Black people have been going through this longer than, you know, the other nationalities have. Even within a 2-income family, we can't get out there to the better school systems because, you know, the disparity of the wealth disparity. And I do want to say something about that as well, Brother Devin, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to get long-winded, but even when we do get out to those other, you know, those suburban areas where the better schools are, you know, it's still damning to us because, you know, one false move or one false bill, we're back to the city. You know, so it's harder for us to even struggle to get our children into those good schools. So that's what it's about, really. It's basically about schooling for us.
But okay, what about the ones who do graduate from those good schools? Do we go back to our communities and build them up?
You say, do we go back to our communities and build them up?
Yeah.
Now, so yes and no, I would like to say. So I guess I've seen some of us have, you know, try to build them up, Devin and Isaiah, but for the most part, you know, no, because we think, we have that mentality that, you know, we're better than that.
We made it out the hood.
yeah, we made it out the hood. So I'm not going to go back to that point. And that's where, you know, that's why I like stories like the Black Wall Street, when those brothers came in and they actually, you know, they made it out, but they came back and did something with in a certain unit, in Tulsa, and they actually become that.
So I guess that would be a situation where segregation was to our benefit.
Yes.
Black Wall Street, because it wasn't by choice, is because they wouldn't sell us things or they wouldn't serve us in restaurants. We can go get our hair cut. So we had to do it on our own. And so maybe, and now don't get me wrong, Black Wall Street didn't turn out all that great in the end.
Well,
that
wasn't our fault though.
I know that wasn't, but still, you know, it was one of the most thriving Black neighborhoods in the history of the United States. It's because it was basically because of segregation, because we had no choice but to keep the dollar in our own community.
Right. And it was beneficial for us to keep our own dollar in our community, and it made not just Black community great again, but also did make America great again. Because during that time between the 1910s and the early to late 1920s, that was I know I'm saying it wrong. My wife told me what it was, but it was basically America's Enlightenment period. It was where we were at the peak, and we also became a superpower. I think that was like right after World War I, we became, and it was because, and I guess it's getting to the crux of this whole thing. You know, it was because not only, you know, other nationalities were thriving, but also the Black communities were thriving. What made the country start thriving?
Right.
You know, so I just wanted, since we talk about Black Wall Street, fellas, I just wanted to talk about that because it just wasn't Black people that were coming to Tulsa at the time. Can I just read just one excerpt from this?
You can excerpt, but video or whatever.
Okay, and Kim, don't worry, I'm gonna link it. So during that time, between 1910 and 1920s, the Tulsa population nearly quadrupled to more than 72,000, and the Black population rose from 2,000 to almost 9,000. This was within Black Wall Street and during that Tulsa period. So you know, people were thriving. They were coming to the city. They were going to where economically it was feasible for them to survive and make a good living.
Right. And it's all because and honestly, if you can't take your money to Home Depot, then you're going to Patriots, you know, Jackson Hardware Store or Robinson Lumber and different things like that. And then you'll supply them with the money that they need to get better material and different stuff like that. So you're forced to keep the dollar in your community right now.
Right.
I used to work in retail, and I think they call it the urban market. They used to call it the urban market, and that means the Black people market. And if you look at Christmas, you know, we're like 13% of the population, but we spend 30 to 40% during those 2 months.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it's not in our own neighborhoods, and it's not in our own communities. It's in other communities.
Right, right. Michelle, Sister Michelle, how you doing? Happy Sabbath. She had posted something. She said, I don't think there is one answer or one choice. I think the thing that would cause us to be productive, successful, and able to live in peace is for us to involve God in the choice and the process. Blacks in the diaspora never want to talk about that. I agree with you, Sister Michelle.
I agree 100%.
Yes.
And just for the sake of just for the statement, hopefully everybody on this conference should know that this is not our Zion.
Right.
This is not the promises. Bottom line is we're still in a captive land that is not our own.
Right.
And the way the scripture says it, no matter what happens, we're still going to be, where we are as a whole. But that don't mean we can't make it better for us as we hear. Because even Jeremiah, when they went to Babylon, he pretty much said, hey, plant your vineyards, raise your houses.
Right.
And he also said in Ezekiel, I will be a sanctuary, in the land you're in captivity. So that means we still can be okay for where we living at. We're not, like we were in our own land.
Right, right.
But that don't mean we need to make it bad for ourselves, because the question is if somebody asks us as a people, and I'm not the spokesman for it, what do you need to be better? What would you tell them? You can't tell them, well, just give me $5.3 million. Then what?
Right.
How can we make it ourselves that we don't have to rely on the system? Because the system isn't working for us at all. Matter of fact, we get to some of the videos, the system is set up for us to fail like you would believe.
Exactly.
How do we detach ourselves from that system by still living in the system and be good? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Go ahead, Isaiah.
That was something that Isaiah K said right here, saying that statistics show that we're the most powerful spending power here.
Yeah.
That if we strategically use our economic power in the Black community or without, then we can be a powerful voice in getting change in what it is that we need. Back in the 50s, where we could not sit in the front of the bus, we went and we boycotted the bus service and put them out of business. Because we started to take use our own transportation. We would go ahead and walk,
and it was months,
or we would
just like one day,
or we would carpool and stuff like that. Over in DC, when they wanted to change the name of the Redskins, the owner said he would never do it, never ever do it. But when they start to pull out the money from the sponsors, FedEx and all these other big sponsors pulled out, he changed his mind immediately. He changed his mind. So if you pull the money out and put these people out of business, then you'll be able to dictate what it is that you might want. We need the businesses in our community. We have more than enough money to go ahead and support it and go ahead and do what it is that we need to do to go ahead and make them thrive. But economically right now, what is it? Stuff that's going on over there in Louisville with Breonna Taylor. Go ahead and destroy that city if they want to, because it's the same thing that was going on with South Africa. They wanted to end the apartheid. They started boycotting South Africa. All the entertainers didn't go down there, and they didn't want to buy the Krugerrand and all that stuff that was going on. And that's what we need to go ahead and do, because even though we can protest, but when we go ahead and use that dollars and go ahead and hit them in the pocketbook, what was it that Johnny Cochran said? Hit them in the pocketbook and their hearts will follow.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So no, Isaiah, you're absolutely right. And that's where we have most of our power, and that's where I think Sister Michelle actually talked about, well, I'll go up and read, but I wanted to comment what Sister Michelle talked about too. Isaiah said, we nowhere near the most powerful earning power. I said, and Isaiah says at the end, if we not connected properly to God, we will not succeed. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of touched on what Sister Michelle said, but Isaiah said education is key, which I agree with that. But that's one of the things they keep on pushing back, is that education piece.
Okay, and even with if education is the key, what type of education? Because my thing is this: we have a lot of educated people, that are, and then sometimes those who become more educated separate themselves because of their education.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So yeah, I do believe education is the key, but what kind of education? Because the thing about it, I think the whole boycott thing will come back to all of us as a people. Because what was that? It was in Tulsa. It was a video. I don't know if we ever showed it, but it was a video in Tulsa when a Korean beauty shop owner punched a sister in the face,
Right.
and they actually tried to protest it and boycott the video, but the owner put for the first 5 hours everything in the store 50% off.
Right.
And it was a line all the way down the block. And a brother who was like, hey, he hit a sister in the face and we should protest. He never apologized. The people in line got mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
You remember that?
Yes.
So
go ahead. I'm
So
sorry.
when we talk about being educated, what are we talking about educated as far as textbook wise, or educated to the point to see the value of the power of our people trying to, focus on one common goal?
So what I think Isaiah might be talking about, and this is why I think education is key, is economics.
He can answer.
Oh, he answered it?
I said he can answer. We can ask.
Okay, yeah. Right. But economics, being educated economically and knowing what we can do with our dollar and ourselves. And I'll use the case in point. I'll give you an example of my biological father dying, and then my stepfather, which is Stephanie's dad, who was Caucasian.
Your father-in-law.
Yeah, my father-in-law.
Right.
The difference is they seek wealth and they hand down wealth, as opposed to, and they economically understand what they need to do to keep on handing down their wealth from generation to generation. To us, and especially in the Black community, we're not taught how to make our dollar work for us. We're not taught economically how to grow our communities, how to grow even our families. And
we don't have generational wealth. We really have a weak wealth.
But Devin, Isaiah, we don't even know how to even get generational wealth, even if we wanted to. You brothers are good brothers. You got good jobs and things like that. But it's not about. I was always taught, you work hard, you go to college, you get a bachelor's degree, you get a good education, and then that's it. But that's not it. That's not the only thing. And I think that's what you were talking about, Devin. Like, it's just not about just being educated. It's about economically being able to sustain yourself and your family for generations to come. We're not taught that. My father-in-law teaches, he was taught that, and he taught his siblings, his girls, children to do that type of stuff. But me, I got these things that say I'm semi, I can finish a task. That's all college is. I can finish a task. But I didn't know this until I got into my mid-30s. So me and you start talking about this. Mm-hmm. That's what education, what they're talking about. And I'm sorry. I know. So Michelle, she said, what could have happened if the people of Rosewood or Tulsa would have built those towns on a different spiritual foundation, right? The facts about the destruction of these towns angers me still. And I wonder what the outcome would have been if they at least kept the Sabbath. True indeed.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
Now people might think, well, that's keeping the Sabbath would change so much for us as a people. Right. It really would on the spiritual side of it. I mean, really would. Right. And my question is, why not try it and see what happens? What will it hurt?
Right. It don't want her. You're right.
Mhm.
It says money talks, and that's when you start hitting them pockets, that's when they want to change up stuff.
Mhm.
Sister said, "Yes, we do, brother Isaiah." Referring to one of Isaiah's questions. She said, "What could happen is the Israelite awakening included a financial plan as well, right? Because God had a financial plan for us, economics." Hey, Sister Rika, how you doing? Sister Michelle says spiritual education and money are key.
Exactly.
Agree with that. Betty Tyler, grace and peace, everyone. Peace to you as well. Israel is a piece of work.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Where we are.
Yes, we are. Yes. Kimberly said that is huge undertaking getting a group of Black people on one accord. I can pray we do that. Yeah, huge. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen in our lifetime though. Well, hopefully. Well, who knows?
Well, we got to start it.
Right.
You know what? I think the whole thing is about, we're talking about generational wealth. That wealth has to start with somebody.
Mhm.
But just like the education and trying to get us all on one point have to start with somebody, have to start with one group, and hopefully that group spread it out.
Right.
And that kind of go back to the whole thing we're talking about it's being segregated, where we can actually deal with ourselves as a people and have a plan to actually, not be supported by the system, because the system is not working for us. If we get into the videos, I mean, it's almost 45 minutes on one video. The videos, we can show how the system is against us getting out of that situation.
Right.
But all this videos, bro.
I forgot where I was. Oh, Sister Michelle said they passed down wealth while Israel throw their kids out at 18. Oh, that is a huge point. That is huge. You're absolutely right. And it's like, oh, you're out on your own, because but again, it's the support system, right? I can't continue to support a grown man or woman on my on my little beans and potatoes they give me. So it's kind of like you gotta go out there and fend for yourself.
Well, actually, how did the Israelites do it? Remember, Jacob had all his sons, and they came to Egypt with 70 people. They built their wealth with their sons in their little community. They made a community out their whole family.
Right.
So, and then if you look even throughout history, when a family had a farm, the whole family brought into that farm, and they helped that farm survive, and they built their wealth as a family over one small thing. So when we, I guess, kick them out at 18, we pretty much, unless we give them something like me and Ken listen to his investor, this probably gave him a condo.
Right.
He gave him a condo and said, and he refinanced that condo. He took the cash out. He ended up buying another property. That's how he built his wealth, from that condo.
Let me ask you a question about that, though, Devin. Isaiah, you as well. But what are we giving? And I'm not saying you. No one take this personal. I'm just talking about in general. What are you giving your children to be able to go out there and succeed? We can't provide. I know, at least for me, and I was telling my daughters about that today. Like, I'm afraid I can't give my daughters anything really to inherit. I can give them, the best possible education and things like that. But what are we giving? What do I have to hand down to them? Most of them don't have anything, and it's because of the curses, but it's because of the systematic segregation that was caused.
Yeah, you gotta get to the videos, man, because those are good videos.
I have a question. Another question, real quick. Can this be? Because we have so much more. We might have to do a two-parter, Devin and Isaiah. I mean, we'll try out. We will get to the videos, but
this is a lot. We can pick this up again next week.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
This stuff.
Yep. All right. So Isaiah said education in the system, first of all, then education in a core idea of culture, value, understanding, and economics, a system that will work for our own people. 100% agree with that, Isaiah. Isaiah also said the so-called Jews are taught the laws and how it operates first, then learn the American system, then take the wealth back home. Right.
You know what? Not just the so-called Jews or the people living in the land.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say that too.
I used to work in construction, and it was a large amount of Hispanics I used to work with. And a lot of them used to send the money they made in America right back home.
Yep.
Right back home. A lot of their
Yeah.
checks went right back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they built their community. And when they went home, they would have land back home. They would have houses waiting for them,
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah.
So they were able to build their community even in another country.
Yeah.
And they're able to sacrifice a lot by building. Like we always joke about it. You have a house, and there's several people living in that one house, but they're putting all their money
Asians. Yep.
into a community.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we got to read, the post.
No, you're right. You're right. Culture includes spiritual connections also. Kim said, I believe that if they would have had the protection of the Lord, the end could have been different. Yeah, me too, Kim. Definitely. Eureka said, my brother is very knowledgeable in understanding finances and establishing economic wealth at an early age. Praise the Lord, you, Sister Eureka. But, we need more brothers and sisters like him, because not a lot of us are, versed in economics and even Wall Street. Devin showed me an article earlier that talked about, the first black business on Wall Street. And that was what is it, 2020, Devin?
Yeah. They're trying to have get more black businesses on Wall Street. It's only one in the history of Wall Street.
Right. One in it's 2020. You can't, and it's because we're not taught this.
And that's the thing. We know people who have the knowledge, but we got to get that knowledge out to the rest of us. I believe just like we preach this book every Sabbath, if we have somebody who knew, we should be having on Fridays or Sunday mornings educational seminars, or we can talk different things. Just like we do this, we should do that as well. Parallel.
Well, and that's how it takes a village, right? And that's how the church. That's how the Sunday churches are set up. Obviously, they're set up in a ways where they're not preaching anything, but they are. Some of them are set up that way.
Right.
Counseling and anything you want. Eureka said, and then it's a revolving door because the parents hadn't taught them how to live and how to survive. Right. But do the parents really know how to live and survive? Sister Michelle said, yes, Brother Devin, Jacob's children and families moved together. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And also too, because I know it's we're talking a lot. I apologize. But too, we're taught, you teach your children, not the family business because we don't have a family business, but also you teach your children, you can do whatever you want to do, which is good. You want your children to be able to do whatever you want to do, but at the same time, is it going to be feasible in this land to be, and I'm not going to put anybody out there, but to do this job instead of doing this, Some children don't want to do what mommy and daddy do, even because it's corny or it's it's not the it thing to do.
Me and Kim just watched a video when a young lady was like, we tell our children to follow their dreams, but that might not be the right thing to tell them.
It's that, that depends on what that passion is, because if you follow your passion, then, all the hard work and stuff that you want to do, then that's a labor of love. Then you love that and you do that.
Something about
you're happy with it.
Right. Can I say something about that real quick? I do, and you're right. You want to tell I definitely want someone to follow their passion. But Isaiah and Devin, my passion was to be an NBA star. I work every day. But I'm only 5'9" and my jump shot sucks. So to a point when I got to high school and I got cut off of 2 high school teams, I'm like, you know what? I might want to change. And Isaiah, you're absolutely right. But sometimes we might need to curtail our passion because I was just horrible at basketball at the time.
But check this out. Check this out. Even if you could not have made it on a team, you could still have made it maybe as a coach,
right,
maybe as a sportscaster, or maybe as an executive. You could still be involved in it because you love it so much. That's your passion. So you can go ahead and get it at another avenue. You're like, you know what? I can't make it in the league as a player, but you know what? I'm gonna study everything that I can do so I can go ahead and make it in there as an executive, or I can make it in there as a coach, or I'm making it in there as a broadcaster, but I'm gonna make it up in here some way and be around it because I love this so much. But you just don't have to be a player.
Agreed.
My point is financially, you should find something that's feasible to form this generation wealth that we're talking about. I'm not, okay, follow your passion. but you better understand finances. You better understand investing. You better understand that you need several different streams of income coming into your house to survive.
Right.
Because a lot of times we're teaching our kids to put all their eggs in one basket.
Right.
In order to, I guess, my understanding, to build financial wealth, you need multiple streams of incomes coming into your bank account.
You definitely need multiple streams of income.
So you will not follow your passion, but understand this: have a rental property, have some kind of business so you can lease out and get some, invest in stocks, do something to get multiple streams of income so you can start building that generational wealth. And then you get back to your community.
Yeah.
You get back to
Right. I know. Don't let your passion be a dead end. Right. I always forget where I'm at. Also, so brother, I think I'm my brother Isaiah. He said, remember Black Panthers created the WIC program. You know what? I don't remember that, but I might.
I know they had that breakfast program for the kids and stuff like that.
They truly gave back to their community.
Okay. All right. So Michelle said, yep, we give no training. Kim said yes, part 2, because we didn't even get to half this stuff yet. But it's good. It's a good conversation. Eureka said the Mexicans and the Asians too. Yes, the Asians, man, I'm not going to say anything because we won't read the comments. Sister Michelle said absolutely to brother Isaiah. Isaiah says LOL, just saying, use them as an example. Brother Jacob says actually it has to be a segregation guide by a unity of purpose and spirit and in natural and in the natural. Brother Isaiah, Brother Jacob, you're right, and I love how you capitalize the emphasis, emphasize stuff. I really do like that. Brother Isaiah said, we the only one that don't do this. I'm assuming he was talking about, trying to build generational wealth, through generations, obviously. Sister Kim said, how do we get media crazed Black American generations to come back? I actually have something on that, but I want to read all these comments.
What was that statement? How do we get what?
How do we get a media crazed Black American generation to come?
Yeah, come out of here, my people.
We might need to write. That's a good question, Kim. That's a good question, Kim.
You can't save everybody, Mike. You can reach, a lot of them, but
right. Right. You're right.
Some of them gonna be too far to gone,
Right.
A lot of them gonna want to go back to Egypt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good point.
That's a valid point.
Good point. Brother Jacob said this unity in Ephesians chapter 4, and I can never read that word, endeavoring to keep the unity of the spirit and the bond of peace. Good point. Sister Michelle said our spirituality and culture are one. Right. Okay. But Isaiah said, look into the Susu and Sabins groups, laugh out loud. This talk is a can of worms that go on and on. Yeah, no, you're right. Sister Kim said, yes, already there, Isaiah. Sister Rika says, labor of love. Michelle said, Psalms 37 said, God will give us the desires of our hearts if we serve him, correct?
That's when we're talking about follow your passion as far as work, which I'm not, I think you should follow your passion.
Yeah, right.
But my point was saying that not that you shouldn't, it's just that you need to have multiple streams of income coming into your bank account.
To support your passion?
To support your passion, to support life in general.
Right.
You can do that no matter what job you have.
That's my point. That's my point.
So that's why I said if you follow your passion, you can do that.
Yeah, that's my
But I mean, whether you do that or you just go into a job that pays a whole lot of money, you can still do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. You can do that.
But my point is, we never say that other part. We just say follow your passion and stop. We don't say follow your passion, but you need to understand finances. You need to understand you need multiple streams of income.
Yeah, well, you need to do that no matter what.
Right. That was my point.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us aren't taught that.
No, we're not.
A lot of us aren't taught that, the end is not just basketball. What Isaiah said was actually wisdom. The end can be sportscasting, and I'm just using me as an example because we were talking about me. Sportscasting, coach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of us aren't taught that. And you can also, again, I'm just going to use me. Then I'm going to read the comments, I promise, guys.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
Use the NBA, though. A lot of us weren't at first given a chance to convert, you know, hey, I'm not a good basketball player, so I'm gonna be a coach. A lot of the coaches were white up until recently because a lot of us on taught to go to that other avenue. I definitely agree with you, brother Isaiah, but we don't have a lot of elders teaching us the way you just taught us. Okay, so, and I'm gonna read the labor of love. Bam, thank you, brother Isaiah. I think she was agreeing with what you were saying, Isaiah, about the passion.
Yeah.
Kim said, oh my gosh. Kim said, oh my gosh, this is not enough time. You are right, gosh. Exactly, brother Devin, link passion to finances, right? Learn to generate money from your own passion. Sister Rika said, this is the age of entrepreneurship. Where most kids downplay education and believe it's not necessary to be successful.
That's a myth, I think.
No, you want to be an educator, you possibly can in any.
No, I'm saying that what she's saying is correct, but I'm saying they're believing a myth that it's not necessary. That's
right.
what I'm saying.
Right.
Maybe I disagree a little bit, right? So when we talk education, are we talking about we have to
have a degree?
Yes.
No.
If you have an opportunity to get one, I think you should go ahead and do that. No, you don't need one, but if you have an opportunity to get one, I think you should be able to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I mean, it cannot hurt nothing.
Okay.
But because some people think that, well, you know what, to go to college, all that is a trap to go ahead and get into student loans to go ahead and get into debt.
Yes.
That's what education is about. Like, no, not really, because some people, if education is, all they think it is a piece of paper. Like, wasn't it Clarence Thomas when he graduated? He says, I got my piece of paper from Yale University Law School, it ain't even worth the paper that it's printed on.
You know,
but that's because sometimes you can put a fork and a knife in person's hands and they cannot use it. That's your fault. You got something inside your hand, you should use it to the best of your knowledge. You can go ahead and put something important in someone's hands and they don't know what to do with it. But if you go ahead and get an education, you can build off of it and do something. Knowledge is key.
And I don't believe education don't just come in the form of an ABC on the wall.
Okay, good.
You can also do other things. You can go to trade school. You can go to things, but all in all, it's all education. And also, when you go to college, there's so many avenues and networking you can build. You know, when you come out of college for 4 years, you build hopefully you should build a strong network of people who are that you can connect with later down the line to help you and show you ins and out of different things.
Right. And I just want to add on to that. I was told something by a Gentile brother, and he said a lot of these kids that go to scholarships, to get college degrees, bachelors, and things like that, they're all going usually funnel into one avenue. For example, computer science, computer engineer. I'm not picking on the computer things. I'm just saying, just off the top of my head. But once they come out, it's not a lot of those jobs. And I'm not saying, I'm just pointing is like, you want to make sure that the degree matches up with the job or the need. Because if it doesn't, you might struggle. And that's what the dude said to me. As opposed to, like you said, some people not going to trade schools, going to get, other things, maybe. That's it. Sister Kim said, oh no, Brother Jacob said,
wait, you're back.
Sister Michelle said, that's why I am. Okay, Sister Michelle said, yes, this age of entrepreneurship is capitalizing your passion. Okay. Brother Jacob said, brethren, remember, we are endeavoring to overcome the curse of yesterday found in Deuteronomy chapter 28 by doing today what the Lord says to be blessed, right?
Right. And that's the bottom line. That's what we stated in the beginning, that we still got to turn back to the Lord, and all the commandments, statutes, and different things like that. So there's no way we can do this on our own without the help of the Lord. And we also realize we are still in captivity. So the struggle for us to get to the point where we need to be is going to be hard. But that doesn't mean we still shouldn't let him be the sanctuary for what we are. He can try to get us to succeed even in the land of our captivity.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Okay, so Kim said, following a passion often requires asks people to focus 1000% on their passion, leaving no room for multiple streams of opportunity. And without support systems that can fund that passion, it's cruel to give people this guidance, right?
I don't think it's cool at all.
You don't think it's cruel?
You said, because basically you warning people to say, look, if you're gonna focus all this time on this right here, and get to the point where let's say anything can happen. Anything can happen. It's like, to me, and with the understanding I have now, to me is to the point where you got to have a life vest if you're going to get on a boat. You never want to use it.
Right.
It's there just in case. You shouldn't put all your baskets in one egg. It always should be a plan B, and I always tell my kids that their entire life.
Maybe I read what Kim wrote wrong. I thought she said it was cool to give people guidance just to follow their passion. That's it. That's how I read it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I think she was saying. It's cool to give people guidance on, following their passion, but not have the multiple stream and support systems like you were talking about.
That's at least a plan B.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sister Michelle said, education past high school into their 20s gives our youth the time to grow and mature. She also said, even if we don't work in our degree area, we still had an opportunity and time to grow and mature. She also said, youth who couple a college degree and trade school are on the engineering track and make a great living.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree, but I'm gonna keep on reading. We'll talk about this later on. She also said that, Isaiah said trade school should be offered in all gen college courses. I think he's just saying college in general. Isaiah, and some colleges do offer trade courses in their colleges. I don't know about all, but I know some schools do. Brother Jacob said amen. Isaiah said trades should be taught in junior high and high school.
It used to be.
Yeah, it used to be, right.
It used to be. I don't know if it still is, but it used to be. Mm-hmm. But then they discontinued those programs.
Right.
We used to have it when I was in high school. You can go to what they call the career center.
Yeah.
Basic trades like basic carpentry, basic electrical and plumbing. And then afterwards, when you graduate, they would try to get you into the union and different things like that.
So this was junior and high school? In high school, I remember that, but junior high school is actually pretty good. I guess it can be. Sister Britt said, wow, all this knowledge is mind-blowing in a good way, of course. It's just, I've never been told how important this info is, especially compared to scripture, learning about Israel more and more and biblical generation and patterns. Right. Mm-hmm. And I know I got scriptures. I know Devin probably got a bunch of more scriptures too. We just never got to them.
Man, we've been on for an hour, bro, and we haven't touched the videos. We haven't touched the articles. We read one scripture.
This is a good topic.
I know.
Sister Rika said, "Praise the Lord, pearls of wisdom." Sister Michelle said, "Isaiah K. Israel and extended after 18." Oh, you're the trade school, right? That's definitely like Job Corps, right?
What did you just read?
I just read Sister Michelle's about extending after 18.
Okay. Oh yeah, sorry, Kilo. That's my fault.
Okay.
Yes,
you dropped out.
I was saying, thank you for translating that to my husband, and she hit.
That's fine. I do it every Sabbath, so Devin do one, I guess. Sister Rika said, yes, woodshop, home economics, mechanics, etc. Right. And Isaiah said, we had woodshop, but because of funding and waivers, it was removed. It was removed from, we never had it either, right? It's removed from
I got a YouTube comment from Pro Human. He says, crack started the cycle of crime and poverty that led to the imprisonment that has been the example to multiple generations. Outsourcing manufacturing, it's expirated the issue, exacerbated the issue with unemployment. So that goes back to one of the videos, how the system is set up for us to have, because even in that, I don't know, do we? No, that's not in this video. When we talk about the codes that they use, like the war on crime and the war on drug was basically.
Oh yeah, that was a race video we did a couple weeks ago.
Right, and then that's all part of the system for us not to succeed,
Right.
So this whole conversation of segregation stuff like that, can we find something that we can still be successful without using the system because it's not geared for us?
Mm-hmm. Brother Jacob, I'm sorry, you done? I'm not being sarcastic. I was making sure before I go into comments.
Go ahead.
Okay. Brother Jacob says some charter schools offers those things. Okay. And keep it going in Israel. I guess we can't. I think we only have a certain limit time for Zoom.
No, man, we got as long as we want.
Oh, I thought for some reason we had.
So read Sister Michelle's comment here. Isaiah said, teach trade in high school, and I replied, the extent of training after age 18. I think they do that at the community colleges and stuff like that.
Okay,
that's good for that.
Right. No, and I was saying they do that too at the colleges, but also, I know in my school, what they did was after that, they suggested you go to some type of, it's not Job Corps, I forgot what it's called, but it's like Job Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that though.
We got a lot of brothers who are in the trades and different skills.
Right.
Maybe we should get something together where we can actually start our own.
We can. That's a good idea.
I mean, just any job we do. We don't necessarily have to be, carpentry or, just some way where we can give back to the community,
Right.
Prohuman said, not to mention the Margaret's Sanger Clinic in most Black. He talking about
abortion.
Yes, abortion and Planned Parenthood and different things like that. Yeah.
Sister Eureka. Oh, so Sister Michelle says, show us the video. Yeah, I mean, if y'all want to keep this going.
The video I just talked about is not on this particular. We showed that one in the past, didn't we?
Okay.
No, that was a 13 on Netflix. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was 13. Yeah.
The war on crime and the war on drugs that Nixon and then in the 80s, the war on talking about keeping neighborhoods safe from crime and everything was all talk. The crime was us, the drugs was us, the war was on us.
Right. Yeah, so Sister Michelle, that was
been on us.
And no matter what, it's been on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sister Michelle, that was a movie on Netflix called 13. It was a great movie, and he talked about the end of slavery up until the Obama administration and how basically, like Brother Isaiah just said, it was always a war on us.
Go ahead and show the video, bro. Show one of them.
All right. Let me just read all these videos and then I'm gonna show the video. These comments, I'm sorry. Sister Rika said, driver's ed is even now removed from schools.
Wow.
It is. Sister Rika said, yes. Kim said, start a school. Yes, Devin, start a school.
That's why these people driving so crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? Sister Michelle said, let's do it, Brother Devin. I've already stated a mentorship list 3 years ago. Let's do it. Just for my Facebook friends, there are many professionals by which the youth can receive mentorships in their endeavors, right?
So question, why can't we have a financial person come in and do a Zoom meeting where we all sit there and listen to them? Anybody know anybody who would do it?
I know.
I think I know someone might be able to get it.
All right. My brother and my father-in-law can do it, but they're
I think I know someone, or I might be able to get someone that can go ahead and do that.
Pearl Human said all the smart African Americans go to Planned Parenthood clinics. Ever seen the movie Audio Secrets?
Audio Secrecies?
Yeah. Neighborhood. I live in a white Montana. It doesn't seem to be race issues at all. Yeah, that's what Pro-Human said on what's the name. And honestly, when we talk about this, we're not really talking about necessarily the tension that's going on now. We're talking about the system that's already in place to basically keep us in a certain area in the United States and keep us from actually striving to be more, greater as a people than what we are. Go ahead and play the video, bro, because we'll read comments on that.
All right. Let me get to it real quick. You want to go ahead and read while I get to the video? You can go ahead, you guys continue reading.
Yeah. So 13 documentary, I use that one in my class. Yes, the 13 documentary. Then bro, I just started a private school. Yes.
You gotta let me share, Devin.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Where's it?
It says host disabled participant sharing.
Oh, it's right here. It's right here. No, I don't want to do that.
But I'm gonna read some of the comments while you keep on doing that. Kim said Ashley Haley would be a good source. Michelle said really. Jacob said yes, he did. Talking about, I'm sorry, it's not Jacob. I apologize. Bible Christian was just, I think it might be Kim. Say yes, he did. Kim also said I meant a trade school. Are you done sharing? No. Okay. Kim was talking about a trade school, and I have no further comment on that kind of thing. Figured that. Sister Eureka said, yes, we had to identify a school for our sons to receive their driver's license. Wow. Sister Eureka said, yes, he's been notified. Laugh out loud. All right, so you can't share it, Devin?
I'm looking for where the link got moved to. We haven't been on here for so long.
I know.
Hey, Kim, can you come in for a minute? It's a little thing I can click that basically allows everybody to share. I'm looking for where it is. Security participants. Mute all divide all down. That's right there.
Had a delay. I don't know how long you're going to see.
Nah, it's not that recently. Where's the share button again? Allow me to share with everybody. Because when I click on here, oh, there it is. There it is right there. All right. There you go, bro.
I got it. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. You got it?
Yes, sir. All right. So let me get to my screen. Which one was it? Like 3 of them.
Actually, it was the American segregation map, night and day.
This one. Okay.
And if there's too many colored people around here, I definitely will get out. I'm not.
One of the main reasons was because it was a white community.
And we understood that it was going to be all white, and we were very happy to buy a home here.
This was Levittown, Pennsylvania, shortly after World War II, in a suburb that explicitly promised a white-only neighborhood. And it wasn't some outlier. It was the prototypical suburb, built by the father of suburbia, Bill Levitt, who created several suburbs around the US, all named Levittown. But one reason Levitt wanted a white-only community was because the US government was subsidizing it, and that's what they wanted. They said they didn't want racially inharmonious groups, lowering property values. That's why Levitt didn't just sell cookie-cutter houses. He sold a meticulously crafted, affordable, utopian lifestyle. So as the courts integrated public spaces like schools, more and more white people fled to these suburbs. And these patterns are still the defining characteristic of America's racial geography. But we now spend most of our time at work, and there, it gets a lot more complicated.
More than 1 million persons each year have pulled up stakes in the cities and turned commuters.
Shortly after the first Levittown broke ground in 1947 in Long Island, New York, about 80% of men still commuted the hour to Manhattan. And while neighborhoods were getting deeply segregated, these workplaces were getting more diverse. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 banned employment discrimination. More companies explicitly said that they were equal opportunity employers, and segregation within our workplaces declined. This meant the workplace was a crucial environment for us to interact with people of other races. Except that's not exactly how it turned out. A few months ago, researchers at Cornell and Penn State shared a data set with me, and when I mapped it, it kind of blew my mind. This is a map of where people work in modern-day Chicago. The taller an area, the more people there are. But now let's color in each neighborhood by the percentage of white people. You can see the city centers are pretty diverse. But now, here's what happens when they go home. What's even more astounding is what happens when we map people of color. Here's where black people work in Chicago. Again, they're concentrated in diverse city centers. But when black workers go home, they go to very segregated neighborhoods, clustered in poorer areas. And we can see the same patterns in DC, Detroit, Philadelphia, pretty much everywhere in the US. These maps show just how stubborn residential segregation is. But they also show what looks like a glimmer of hope for integration. Cities are remarkably diverse during the workday. So this got researchers interested in looking closer at what's at work. Let's look at how segregation changed in recent years. From 2000 to 2010, residential segregation between black and white people got slightly better. For the most part, segregation just mostly plateaued for all racial groups. But when researchers looked at how segregation changed during the day when we're at work, they found that segregation increased slightly across all racial groups. When we zoom in some more to the company level, we can see a bit more of what's actually happening. Researchers at Stanford and Harvard found within a company, segregation levels have gone down very little. In other words, we're exposed to about as much diversity now as we were a generation ago. But there are a lot more people of color now than there were in 1980. So what's going on? Well, they aren't being more represented at these white majority companies, which would look like this. Rather, they're getting opportunities at companies that are mostly non-white, over here. So this means that when we look at this from a company level, segregation has actually gotten worse than a generation ago. Of course, some places are pretty diverse. So researchers looked at what kinds of places actually have less segregation during the day. But they found that if a place is diverse during the day, it's likely not because people of all races are working alongside each other. Rather, it's probably because most of the higher status workers, like managers, are white, and the lower status workers, like janitors, are people of color. American policies engineered our segregated homes. But work, where we spend most of our time, many thought that could be a space where we form meaningful relationships with people of other racial backgrounds. That hasn't quite happened, and we see it in the most personal parts of our lives. In 2014, the Public Religion Research Institute asked Americans to list the people with whom they've discussed important matters in the past 6 months. In other words, our friends. Most Hispanic people had friends of other races. About 1 in 3 black people did too. But 75% of white people only had white friends. In short, we may be exposed to diverse spaces, but we still live very segregated lives.
But the whole trouble with this integration business is that in the end, it probably will end up with mixing socially. And you will have...
I gotta turn my, hold on, I turn that off. Okay.
All right. So that was just showing how even though, oh, I guess I can put up that article that Trump just did since we were talking about housing.
Okay.
And I can share that real quick.
Okay. But that was one of the things that I think me and brother Isaiah K was talking about, how, you know, it might just, perception might be that, you know, we're moving in the right direction and we have more stuff available to us. But in all actuality, you know, it's actually getting a lot worse.
All right. So the Housing Act. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, color, nationality, origin, religion, sex, family status, and disability. The act has two purpose: prevent discrimination and reversing housing segregation. So that's what that was for. Now let's see, this just happened what, like a day ago.
Right. Right.
So so basically it says, this is from Trump, this is what Trump has said. He said, I'm happy to inform all people living in their suburb lifestyle dream that you will no longer be bothered or financially hurt by having low income housing built in your neighborhood. President Trump tweeted on Wednesday. Your housing prices will go up based on the market and crime will go down. I have rescinded the Obama Biden fair housing, the AFFH rule. Enjoy that rule, known as the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Regulation, was an Obama administration era rule that targeted racial housing discrimination and segregation. So he rescinded that, and you guys can read the rest of this on your own. All you got to do, I mean, this happened like what, yesterday, right? Or today?
Yes.
Yeah, it happened
Right.
last week, but looking on what that did was that thing that, or what Obama had passed, was that those people who could not afford to be in the same neighborhoods as those white people, it supplemented their income as far as for the housing, so that they could be in those neighborhoods. And that's why he's saying that they brought it down, because people who were of low income could still live in those neighborhoods where they wouldn't be able to without this. And that's why he's saying, hey, your property values will go up. You won't have these low income people in your neighborhood, because trying to say that this was, or it was a racist thing that he did say, but he was saying that low income people bring crime and they bring all these things on there.
Well, that's not the case. I mean,
Yeah.
it, like we talked about earlier, the school systems usually in these neighborhoods are better.
Yes.
And if you're trying to give your child the best education you can, you can move to these areas where your kids can go. Because I think it was an article, which I'll look it up, where a young lady, a sister, she had her child in a different school district under a different address, and when they found out, they ended up putting her in prison, didn't they?
Right.
Because she was trying to get the best education for her child. And so that's further kind of deal with what we're talking about.
Can I share the other video real quick talking about that school system?
Yeah, you want to read any comments?
So Kim said, so frustrating. I actually agree to that. They also said, so, oh, that was me saying so true, Kim. And then she also said, so that video points out that we are already segregated for the most part. Where we live is the idea presented earlier, is that we further segregate by having our own businesses within our residential communities. Seeking clarification.
And that's what I'm saying. Since we're already being segregated, why don't we use it to our advantage, like Black Wall Street? Because the system, from what we're looking at, is actually what Trump just did a week ago. It is what it is until we either vote them or change laws and stuff like that. But until then, we should use it to our advantage. And actually, they want to keep us separated, then let's be separated. If they want to keep us separated, let's market our own business. Let's get our own storefronts. Let's get our own restaurants. Let's get our own clothing stores, and this, and this. And the educational part of it is educating us as a people enough to actually do it. Because we too busy running around with Jordans and Gucci and whatever we're doing that you won't want to wear a mom and pop design or anything like that.
No, yeah, right. So what happened? So Sister Rika said Trump is furthering the segregation and discrimination with the TikTok debacle in Asia. And I laughed hysterically because I just and definitely about this point. And I'm not gonna you ain't gonna put me out there now. Sister Michelle said, can you share the link so I can study it later?
The video we just showed is already on our YouTube page.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can put the link. Can you put the link at the bottom of it, just as we're having now?
Who, me?
Yeah, the video from the video you just shared.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was talking about the article you had put.
Did she want the article or the video? Sister
I'll do them all. I'll do them all. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Oh, so it's in the description above. Sister Kim said to Sister Michelle.
The video is. I don't know if the article isn't, but that article was today, so you can just type in.
I can share it. I'll do it. I'll share it. Sister Kim said it has to be those willing to make the sacrifice. It's here too. The videos are linked above. Okay. I don't know what just happened, but I'm just going to share it.
Yeah, that's fine. Just put them. It's cool, but it is on there. The link, the video's on link above. I don't know the article I just read is.
Okay. Yeah. No. I wanted to share that because we just talked about the school system. I mean, since we're going on, and everybody seems like they're still here.
Okay.
Devin was talking about the education system and how that's all messed up in conjunction with the housing system. And so I actually had a video about it.
Go ahead, bro. I'll be back.
Okay.
What happened? What you hear? Oh, you getting ready to play a video?
Yeah. But it talks about exactly what we were talking about, Brother Isaiah, about how everything is connected, the school segregation and everything else. So
we ended school segregation 62 years ago, but in reality, things are still pretty bad today. You might be thinking, what the hell are you talking about? In Brown versus the Board of Education, the Supreme Court decided that we can't racially segregate our schools anymore. Well, that worked for a while. We definitely saw improved integration through at least the late 1980s. But today, American schools are more segregated than they were over 4 decades ago. No, seriously, that's a true story. In 2011, for example, more than 40% of black students attended schools that were 90% people of color or more. That's up 5% from 1991, which means we're going backwards. So what's going on here?
We are definitely reversing a lot of the progress that was made certainly in the late 50s and throughout the 60s.
Back in the day, there were all these court orders that required schools by law to desegregate. This was a way to combat all the massive resistance to the Brown v. Board decision. Now you might be thinking, Nano, stop being so dramatic. Get out of here with all this massive resistance talk. No, massive resistance was literally the name of a policy adopted by Virginia's state government in 1956 to block desegregation efforts in public schools. But now those court orders have expired, which means school districts don't have to do the work required to make their schools less segregated. And we can thank the Supreme Court for that. Starting in the 1990s, the Supreme Court passed a series of decisions that dissolved almost all of the desegregation plans that followed Brown v. Board. In some instances, schools wanted to keep their integration plans, such as busing, because they were working so well. But they weren't allowed to because the Supreme Court said that they were discriminatory against white students. By the way, this kind of segregation isn't just happening in states below the Mason-Dixon line. It's happening in, drumroll please, New York. The South is actually the least segregated region for black students. And Latinos in progressive, new age, quinoa-loving, gluten-free California are the most segregated students in the country. And the epicenter of this resegregation happens to be right here in LA. That's because the Supreme Court put more demanding court orders on southern states to desegregate their schools, but didn't do the same for northern and western states. I guess the Supreme Court just thought there was no racism in the North and the West. And another major reason why our schools are still largely segregated is our neighborhoods are still largely segregated by race and income.
Well, housing inequality is very much tied into educational inequality. I think some people would go as far as to say that it is really impossible to understand educational inequality without understanding the underlying housing inequality of our society.
See, there's this thing called school assignment. It basically means that school districts have to decide how to assign students to the school they go to. So many of these districts are choosing to do this based on the neighborhood they live in, or residential assignments. The problem with that? Public schools are funded by local property taxes. So if a kid lives in a poor neighborhood, chances are that kid's going to go to a school that's underfunded and not very good. In nearly half of the states, affluent districts are getting more local funding than poorer districts. Nationwide, there's a 15% difference between how much states and localities are spending per student in the poorest school districts compared to the richest ones. It may seem like chump change, but it has an impact.
Where you live matters because where you live determines where you go to school. And so if you're living in a neighborhood that is an area of concentrated poverty, for example, or very near to that area of concentrated poverty, then that is the school that you're going to attend.
Today, black students are over 6 times more likely than white students to attend a high poverty school. That means the reality is that poor students of color aren't getting the same kind of quality education as their white middle class peers, the kind of education that Brown v. Board was aiming for. Here's the thing, school integration has been proven to have lasting positive effects on students of color and white students in all kinds of ways. So if we want to stop moving backwards, integration might just be our best bet because it improves kids' academic performance and their financial future.
I don't think I sent that to you, Devin. I apologize. I did link it in the description below, though.
No, that's fine. I asked Kim, she got it. She can add it, so we'll be okay.
Okay. But basically, some of what you're talking about.
Well, you have to put it in the description.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, hold on. Go ahead. I don't know if you can hear that. I gotta change it up.
No.
Okay.
What were you saying, bro?
I forgot. I think I was just trying to sum up what you were talking about earlier, Devin and Isaiah, just about how, the housing, because of the housing situation and the segregations from, decades going on, we're still, like I think Sarika just said, low key segregating, zoning laws. And I think actually I don't know if this is a liberal or Republican thought process, but wasn't it just not too long ago one of the presidents or candidates said that they want to actually have vouchers so you can, instead of going to your own school district, you can pick what school you want your child to go to?
They said so much stuff, bro. I can't.
Okay.
They're talking about that and a few other things, but
Right.
I know that as far as schools were concerned, the remedy or one of the remedies that they came up with, we were just talking about it, was affirmative action, or what they were talking about, saying that letting Black people into schools, universities that were going on, because that was the remedy of the problem of discrimination. But once that happened, white people started saying we're being discriminated against.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, this thing just started. We just started to get into this stuff to go ahead and get into these schools, and now they're saying that they're discriminated against. Well, we've been discriminated against for like how many 100 years?
Right.
And this stuff has been implemented, not even 5-10 years? And now y'all trying to go ahead and do this? It doesn't make sense. But, because of that, we did get some gains when we did go to these universities and we did graduate, because we didn't have to, we weren't helped. But when we had to make these grades, we had to do the work. We had to go ahead and do the hard work, the reading and passing all these tests just like everyone else did. There's nothing else that could be done.
Right. No, a good point, Isaiah. I have a question about that. Just soon to read the comments. And again, I'm glad everyone's still here with us. There's definitely a monstrous topic. But, you know, me and Brother Isaiah and Brother Devin definitely wanted to talk about this because, you know, felt the need to, especially considering the climate that we're in now. So hanging on with this, everyone is still with us. Sister Rika said low key segregated school zoning laws. You know, I definitely agree with that. Sister Michelle said, please post the links to both of those videos in the comments. All right, I know I did the one. Sister Michelle, I'll find the other one as soon as I stop rambling on and post that as well. But they're also, I think you said they're also posted at the top. But I'll still do that though, don't worry. Sister Rika said, thus the reason for the low scores in standardized testing for further perpetuating economic imbalances within our communities. Yes, yeah, and I guess it goes to my question I have for everybody, and just, you know, again, because I've had these arguments with other nationalities. For what I'm told is that, you know, affirmative action might actually hinder us. This is not my opinion, this is what people say. It hinders us because, you know, if we go to a school, like, and I'm just using college, for example, I'm using myself actually. Instead of going to, you know, my neighborhood school, community college, or, you know, an African-American school who might teach me how to survive in college long-term, I go somewhere like Drexel. And for those who don't know, Drexel University is one of the top 25 schools in America. At the point where I was going, I don't know, now I'm old now. It was a top college school. My mom worked there, so I went there for free. The reason why I went there, I always was told, was because of affirmative action. They need to get a certain niche group to get money, right?
Quarter minorities?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason why I bring this up is because I wasn't mentally prepared to go to a school like that because it moved too quick for me. It was an 8 week. They had 8 week terms instead of 14 week terms, and a co-op. Because it moved too fast for me, I wasn't able to compete with, you know, the other nationalities. Hence, I was on academic probation. Hence, I got kicked out, and I got kicked down to community college and everything else as well. So the reason why is because, you know, in our schools, like Sister Rika was talking about, and because our schools aren't well equipped to get us ready for the real world, people like myself might need to go to a community college. I'm not saying this, guys, by the way. This is what was told to me. I might need to go to a school where I'm you know, it's baby step for me to go to a college like that. What do you guys think about that? And that's
basically what you're saying, because of that, you're basically taking a child who didn't have the same background as the ones who are there and throwing them in there, which will kill their self-esteem, make them feel inferior to everybody else just to meet a quota, and you just damage that person. Now they're, you know, you're talking about the mental side of it.
Yeah. How do you feel like that?
I can see that.
It's mental. And for me,
I can see that.
My wife actually, all praise to her. You know, I was like, I'm not doing this school thing again. You know, Devin, I think I've talked to you, but I mean, I finally ended up going back and getting degrees and stuff like that. But it was kind of, you know, mentally humiliating. You know, so but what do you say to affirmative action? Is it a cause of affirmative action? I'm all for affirmative action, by the way. But, you know, we got to prepare our children for things like this, or they'll get left back like myself.
Yeah, well, you know, there are stories like that you can go ahead and say, but then there are also stories of successful stories about people who have gone through that. But, you know, school period is a weeding out process, because sometimes when you go through especially through some of these STEM programs, the first thing they're going to do is say, look to your left, you're right.
I know.
But when you finish this thing, everyone that you're looking at ain't going to be here.
Right.
Weed it out. So if it's a program that you want or that you love, you might have to go to a community college and build up from there and do that. You know, it's just how bad do you want it?
Right.
That might be the program or something that you wanted, but you might be successful somewhere else. You go through it, because it also depends on the teachers that you have.
Right.
You know? You can go somewhere else and, study the same thing, and you can go ahead and excel because they break it down to a way that you can go ahead and understand it and, and do that. Because some of these schools, that are, that you're in, they want you to read 100 pages a night and then go ahead and comprehend everything that you read. So I mean, it's not for everybody, but some of the people that I've read about, they went to some of these schools and they have excelled. But it's not for everybody. But hey, you know what? Find another one. Find just go ahead and do it that way.
Right. The work ethic too. Like you said, Brother Isaiah, you got to be able to, and like you were talking about earlier, the passion, and also you need to have the work ethic to be able to strive to overcome whatever disabilities I guess you have. Not mentally or anything like that, but
I know that.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Comments. So where were zoning laws? Okay. No, just Rika said, no, I'm at Kim. Kim said systematic racism goal is to keep people in a position where they are not able to perform and to compete. Agree, Kim. Affirmative action supports those with those abilities to compete to not be blocked from being given the opportunity. Okay. All right. Financially, community college makes sense because the first 2 years are the prerequisites prior to the actual degree, the curriculum, which again is something that I wasn't taught until I actually started failing that, but something that we should teach each other, right? Kim says people of all colors get on academic probation all the time. It shouldn't be a defining moment in one's life simply because of their color. Many privileged white kids make it into Ivy League colleges because of their privilege, not because of their capacity. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they call it legacy.
Right, I agree with that too. Definitely agree with that too. I was just told that story, and then I was drawn back on my experience. Like, man, you know what? That makes sense. But affirmative action is also in my.
I will say this. It's been times when academic probation for an African American versus a white person is treated differently. You're not given as many chances.
Okay.
It depends on the individual who you're talking to.
Yeah. Right.
I know this is that one time I did go to a electronic school or college, but no, not online. This was, I applied for it and got into it, but because I was working, I could not put all my time into the school that I needed because I needed to do that all the time. Some of the people that were in there at the time, because I was really young, they were older, they were around my age now. These people pulled together and they were like, they had studied together to go ahead and make it. Because if a lot of times when minorities go to school, they will do it by themselves, where you'll see people from other races or on this particular reason or part, it was these older folks, they clustered together and they studied together to help each other so that whatever I was strong in, you might be weak in. I would help you with that. Whatever you were strong in, I might be weak in. So they were studying together and helping each other, because you notice a lot of times when Black folks do go, they go off by themselves to try and do that. And that's something that I've noticed, and that sometimes that they hold them back.
Right. I did have one more video just to sum all this up. I don't know if
you want to just save it for next week.
Are we gonna do the same thing next week?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Cool. No, because I got a lot more stuff too. That's cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to squeeze everything in today.
Okay, good.
The comments that are coming up.
Okay, so Jacob said, yes, they did. I guess referring to your story about Isaiah, what you were talking about. Cesarica said, I was forced into a diverse living situation with my college roommate. I was okay with it, but my roommate was totally bizarre. It was very difficult for her to socially accept differences, which in turn compromised my college experience. Right. I actually have a story like that too, but I'll save it for next week. Like Brother Mike mentioned, mentally frustrating as a freshman in college. Yeah, yes. I gotta put that, I gotta note that. That's a good point, Sister Rika. And it frustrated me actually to the point where I didn't think I was accepted. But we could talk about that later on. Sister Kim said, community colleges are much more affordable, but certainly lack the hiring options of larger universities. I've seen firsthand where top companies recruit and grab interns from top universities that community college students have no exposures to, and that counts.
Yeah, but no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. We can say this is good.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying that, but the community colleges are only there for like a 2-year degree. You can go ahead and build up off of that and go to a 4-year college after the community college, so that you can have the same exposure to that or to something else.
Right. And I think Kim might actually be talking, like, just mentioning that, 2 years, yeah, that's cool. We just can't stop after that 2-year associates. Because remember, before associates was okay. Now
it's a master's.
Right. Now, yeah, no, right.
Yeah.
The associate is like a GED, and I'm not putting it down, but nowadays that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
nowadays masters is the bachelor's.
Right. All right, guys, this was definitely great. Thanks again, guys, for everybody that's staying on there. A lot of comments. Any lasting thoughts?
What?
What happened? Oh.
It takes you 4 to 5 years to go through community college.
It don't take 45.
Well, do you think Isaiah answers real quick? What you might be saying is because of the mentality that you have going into college and not knowing what you're going to do, it takes 4 to 5 years?
4 to 5 years to get to a community college?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I thought
you were saying to get through a community college. Isaiah, explain yourself, Isaiah. I'm not going to explain it for you. I have a BA in psychology, and it has not helped me at all, LOL. So, but explain the 4 to 5 year person getting through college thing.
The community college.
Community college. Look at statistics.
I didn't think they were set up for 4 years. I thought they were only set up for 2, and so you can get your associates, then move on.
We'll look at it. Isaiah, if you have anything to talk about next time, I think he might talk about finances and getting your life together.
Oh yeah.
Just wanted to explain himself.
Explain yourself.
Yeah. Sister Britt said, "I'm going to be watching this again. Homework to the max." Look at statistics. Okay, we will. Sister Rick said, is it because of job scheduling? I'm thinking that maybe he's talking about
job scheduling and finances and different things like that. So that's understandable.
It's like we're paying charades,
or do they give you the runaround with courses that you really don't need, and they don't give you all the courses you need at one time?
Maybe it's that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes, Mike. Okay, thank you. As Kim said, explain yourself. Well, I literally just heard you say that out loud. All right.
I would like to actually put it out there. If anybody know anyone who wouldn't mind taking time out their schedule to do a financial course for us on the Zoom meeting, then anybody will want to come hear it. Because the whole point, if we're going to really talk about building generational wealth for us as a community, we really need to set ourselves up for it. And if anybody knows somebody who actually do it, contact either me, Mike, or Isaiah.
I think Sister Rika actually said it. She said her brother might do it.
We can talk about it.
Okay.
A couple of people that could do it. Probably her brother, and there's someone else that I think that that would be good as far as doing that.
Yeah, because we really need to set ourselves up to. Once again,
my phone charges up or comes on.
So I just wanted to say, no matter what we do, the Lord comes first, and
Right.
putting his laws and set commandments to get in his best graces is the most important thing.
That's right. He did say this.
That's the most important thing. But we also need to be educated not only spiritually, but also according to how the world operates as well.
Okay. Brother Isaiah said, yes, Mike, LOL, too much put in a nutshell. That's Devin. Then Kim also, I'm pretty sure she said it earlier too, Ashley Haley would be open to holding a financial literacy session via Zoom. Watch this.
Watch what?
Maybe she just wanted.
Oh, maybe she would.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we can talk all this stuff, but let's put some stuff in action. Let's actually let's do something to really change us as a people and different things like that. And then, honestly, question out there: we were to set this up with someone, would you guys come and watch it and ask questions and things like that? Just give me a yay or nay or whatever. Should we even waste our time even doing this? I know I would.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna get some knowledge out of this. For real.
Yeah.
And you couldn't go a day without taking a shot, could you? Natural things and spiritual things have their place. That's it, right?
Yeah. We'll hold it off. You can count by Christian God. You can count them in. Okay, so
yes,
that'd be cool. All right. So thank you guys for joining us. I know this is almost 2 hours. So I think this is the longest one we ever had.
Yeah.
But definitely pick it back up next week because I got articles and we got more videos to show about this exact same topic. And I'm pretty sure you guys can think about the things that we talked about and write them down, take notes, and bring it back to the next conversation. So we'll do, I guess, segregation part 2.
Right.
Basically, so if they ask us what we want in this country, let's have something mapped out where we can tell them.
By then it might be too late though. All right, no. All right, cool. Thanks. Yeah.
So grace and peace, everybody. Have a good week. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Brother Isaiah, for the good discussion. And you guys have a blessed week and peace to you all in Jesus' name. Part 2 next week. Yes, sir. Part 2 next week.
Okay.
All right. I'll go ahead and end this.